This is Alec Mian. Welcome to the Adobe and Pantone Civil War. Now, I'm wearing red today because the Chiefs are playing in about half an hour. Go Chiefs, come on Mahomes. I do want to say I'm a little late to the game. I want to do some reading and I was traveling for work. So I want to get as much information as I could before broadcasting that to you. So essentially, Pantone provides Adobe the color library, which Adobe then uses for all their applications. All of a sudden, there are users out there that notice that their products were being viewed on the screen as black and white with an error message popping up. Adobe has decided not to renew their license with them, leaving many people with a dark black and white world, completely void of color and, sadly, happiness. Adobe has been using the same old library for over a decade now, so Pantone decided it was time to end that license agreement and hoping that Adobe would like to renew with a brand new subscription. But as we can see, that did not happen. Adobe will be able to leave their CMYK coded, CMYK uncoded, and metallic coded Pantone libraries. They will be removing the solid coded and solid uncoded libraries only. And if you're wondering what the difference between RGB, CMYK, and Pantone color descriptions are, I have a link that they break it down very nicely for you. To utilize their colors, you'll have to run a Pantone Connect extension, which comes at a whopping $15 a month or $90 a year. I linked a fact sheet to their website from Pantone, which describes that. Do you think Adobe will be taking those cost savings from, let's say, Pantone and delivering them to you? I don't think so. They're going to suck you up dry as much as they can. And I don't know if you already know this, but Photoshop used to be a subscription key-based model that you could download and own on your computer. I still have my MacBook from 2011 because it has CS6, which is the last Photoshop version that allowed you to download and keep. I'm trying to keep that thing alive as long as I can. I actually need to replace the logic board, and that might be a possible video, so if you'd like to see that, let me know. Now it's on the Creative Cloud, which you have to subscribe for $20 a month. That's just like the basic Photoshop, and there is a Photoshop Lightroom. Each one has its own plus or minuses, which will lead me to the end of the segment with how annoying subscription models can be. There are times where they're useful. This is not one of them, in my opinion. Pantone doesn't actually own these colors. They actually are just a very world-renowned source of quality matching and a way to make sure that whatever you see on your screen will be printed not only on paper but other materials like plastics, metallics, all that. It's a color code matching library that ensures you save plenty of hours versus trying to double check with factories from China, for example, making sure it's the same kind of pigmentation that you were hoping for your products. As Aaron Perzanowski, Siema Pani Aaronie, a law professor at University of Michigan puts it, Pantone has no underlying intellectual property rights when it comes to the individual colors. Their color library, the system of standardization with the company could claim copyright over, and the challenge is that there is no real substitute in the market right now. End quote. You can see the transcript of that interview below. Some solutions. Well, as Perzanowski put it, they don't own the colors, so some company out there could be bold enough to create their own library, and that would take a lot of hours to put in just to create another library to then implement worldwide. I think Pantone and Adobe should grow up. They both are kind of butting heads and being stubborn on their own points on this one, and just come to another agreement, especially if they believe in, how they put it, they want to lessen the impact on their customers. Well, not charging us another $15 a month would be pretty helpful. 26 million subscribers to Adobe and their Photoshop platforms. I wonder what they would start saying if people started, voting with their wallets and moving to other companies. Now that's the hard part. There are some really good companies out there that do create really great editing software without all the bells and whistles that Photoshop currently has, but they are dominating the editing software. They have so many great tools and they just keep coming out with even more. Another solution would be not using the Pantone libraries. It's not like you really need to. You could use the RGB or the CMYK libraries out there. There are plenty of them. If you're not worried about color matching to the degree that some major manufacturers do, then it's not going to be a huge deal. Some people have found workarounds where you can use an older version of an existing app that uses those libraries and then manually copying those into your existing ones. Or you could use an M1 MacBook Air, even though the quote, current version of Pantone Connect extension isn't Apple Silicon compatible and requires launching the app in the slower Intel emulation mode, unquote. Guess we just can't win. Or this brings me to the conclusion of the annoyance of the subscription model. It was quite disappointing to find out that Adobe decided to go to a subscription Photoshop model. Once again, that's why I have it on my laptop. Because now that Pantone will be asking you to pay for $15 a month to use their libraries, what about, printer ink? You bought the ink, you've got it, it's already in my printer. Will you start charging me? Will somebody start charging? Well, Canon probably would charge me to print in color even though I have the ink. That was a joke, Canon. Hopefully it was a joke, Canon. Same with the BMWs. They are charging a subscription for, $18 a month to use their heated seats even though they're already installed in the vehicle. Where does that make any sense? I've already got them. Why charge me? There is a link for that in case you don't believe me. Funny enough, Perzanowski, the guy that mentioned earlier, he actually has a great book on it, which I'm about to start reading, that he worked with Jason Schultz, and it's called The End of Ownership. And it has to do with the subscription models and how you technically buy something now doesn't mean you necessarily own it. When do we start? It's like a rent to own, and they could come and grab it whenever they want. They could just flip the switch and turn it off. That is quite annoying. If I bought something, I want to make sure it runs. It's mine. I paid for it. Now, there are some things that are worth using subscription models. If you get new content, new information, or products on a routine basis, that kind of makes sense. I remember when Pandora and Spotify came out, I was still stuck to my CDs, my iTunes, everything was mine. I owned it, you can't take that away from me. And now I just only listen to Spotify at this point. That's a subscription that I was willing to give up because it just made sense. I can take everything in this little phone and I have it with me at all times. But I'm worried about where this road leads. Let me know what you think. And go Chiefs. Oh jeez, my light just fell.